My name is Faye, and I'm the Canadian Country Manager for Xero. I'm joined today by our Chief Product Officer, Anna Curzon, who is actually in Vancouver this week. So welcome, Anna.
Thank you, Faye. It's amazing to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, it's so nice to have you in the country. For those of you that don't know, Xero is a cloud-based accounting software used by over 3 million small businesses around the world. And our mission is to make life better for not just small business owners, but their advisors and ultimately the communities that they serve by providing beautiful experiences. So with that, let's get Anna to introduce herself. Can you tell us a little bit more about you and your role here at Xero?
For sure, Faye. And look, thank you again for having me, because this is such an exciting market for us here in Canada. And we're learning a lot from Canada globally. So it's a real pleasure to be here. So again, I'm the Chief Product Officer here at Xero, and I have the privilege to lead global product teams around the world for Xero. And that means that, we have people here working with you, Faye, in Canada, product design people, research people, data-orientated people that are really waking up every day, working with our engineers and thinking how they can solve big customer problems for our small businesses and those that support them. Because as you say, our purpose is to make life better for this community. And so that's what we wake up thinking about every day. And, me personally, I am based in New Zealand, but I'm so looking forward to getting out and traveling more as we did pre-COVID amongst our community. And so this is actually my first trip outside of New Zealand post sort of pandemic times, and it's a real privilege. And I think it's very relevant that I'm here as my first trip globally.
Yeah, well, hey, thank you on behalf of the 200 plus Xeros that are located in Canada. It's really nice to have you and welcome again. So over the next 40 minutes or so, we're going to pick Anna's brain on how she and her team think about creating beautiful experiences for our customers and how those very customer experiences actually influence product design here at Xero. We're also going to dig into that small business support system, specifically how we can collectively design a seamless experience through ecosystem collaboration. Now, I'm particularly excited because Anna's been on a very similar journey in other markets, such as Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. So this entire session is a bit of a journey to the future of what we can expect. And I know the summit has been all about what can we expect. So really, really excited to talk more about that with Anna today. Before we dive into specific details on solutions and benefits, Anna, I think it'd be valuable to explore what you've been seeing around the world and what it comes to tech adoption. Xero's available in over 180 countries, right? Used by customers in that many countries. I can imagine you have a few observations for discussion, so would love to just open it up at that.
For sure, Faye. And I guess what I wanted to do is just cement ourselves and why this is so important in terms of digital adoption and the spark we're seeing in digital innovation right now, because we again live and breathe small business. That is our community. Those are our people, if you like. And really the small business community is the foundation of economies worldwide. When we think about it, they represent 90% of businesses globally. They employ 60 to 70% of people globally in developing countries, and represent about 55% of GDP. And so when we think about that, it is so important that we really are leaning in to support our small businesses and their advisors to come online. And so when I look at the last sort of 12 months or so, we've seen a big uptick in digital enablement. And through our research from our Small Business Insights program, which I'll touch on a bit more later, we saw that those using more apps, so more cloud apps, prior to the pandemic, they pivoted a lot faster to offer online services and were more resilient. Now, that acceleration of digital transformation has driven other trends, such as the growth of small businesses and industries, especially in areas like e-commerce. And that includes things like tradespeople, freelancers, gig workers, have really taken advantage of this evolving market dynamic, if you like. And in the US, I remember, in fact, I think we were talking about this KPMG report that estimated that there was about a 14% increase in the number of gig workers, and that was expected to reach more than 50% by 2027. When we think about, we can take cues from what people are searching on, and how to start a business. As a word search on Google had over 60,000 searches in the US each month. So we know that business digitization was always coming, but it really arrived in 2021, and it is continuing to accelerate into this year. And it's a moment where collectively we've said, we've come this far. It's a burn the ships moment, if you like. We can't go back, because we've seen these immense benefits from businesses coming online.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's certainly a trend we've seen in Canada as well, with the creation and explosion of folks taking their side hustles and, hopes and dreams, small businesses, and actually making them come to life over the last year. So it's something that's really exciting as we think about the small business economy over the coming years. And now, as I mentioned, you're in Canada this week, which is really exciting. Let's turn our attention to this market. What is happening here, and what's the potential that you see?
With so much potential, and that's really great news, because globally the adoption of cloud technology is approximately 20%, and that's lower actually in North America. So in Canada, less than 15% of small businesses use cloud accounting solutions at the moment. So the potential for adoption is huge, along with increasing government initiatives to digitize tax and payroll, e-invoicing, open banking, compliance. These things all really represent an opportunity to provide the best-in-class solutions, and provide integrations that support a more seamless digital solution, a one-stop shop, if you like, for our small businesses and the community.
If that's the case, Anna, and as we think about our team as change agents and encouraging tech adoption, what can any organization that works with small businesses do or offer? Right? And maybe it's easier for us to begin the discussion on how we here at Xero approach product design and development, and how that plugs into this topic.
Yeah, absolutely, Faye. I think, COVID served up so many curveballs for us. But I think what we learned at Xero is that, where there's friction or a change, there's a problem to be solved. And that creates opportunity for us to really lean in to support small businesses. And we are really a customer-centric business. So again, everything that we do is to support our businesses, their accountants, their bookkeepers, to have a really beautiful experience. When you opened, you talked about our purpose here at Xero is to make the lives of this community better. And that's incredibly important for product design and development. And I think about the fact that because we were born in the cloud, about 16 years ago, we've been able to really evolve and provide a full spectrum of connected tools and services that can really help small businesses to succeed. And, that's something for me in my role at Xero is that's unwavering. It's my commitment to working with our customers to really co-design the future. So as an example of that, we've organised our teams based on customer needs, and we seek out to solve what we call the biggest problems, and spend time with our partners and small business customers in every region, face to face, through our accounting committees. We get our community in. We go out and talk to them and observe them in the places that they're doing their work. And that's been a lot harder during COVID, but we're doing a lot of connecting through sessions like this to really, look at what are the micro trends, what are the little problems every day for us to solve, but what are those macro trends as well when we step back and look at, what are some of the big things we need to lean into that we might see coming and need to start solutioning for now. And I think because of that approach, it's meant that small business owners and their advisors, have this amazing opportunity to have access to real-time financial data anytime, anywhere, on any device. And when I think about our ecosystem globally, we have over 1,000 third-party apps and 300 plus connections to banks and other financial partners. So it really means that, working together, because we've always had an open approach, an open ecosystem approach. There's no problem we can't solve, and there's no opportunity we can't unleash together. which is pretty cool. And often we'll work with our ecosystem partners and banks too, to look at how we might collaborate to solve problems for our small business customers. And look, on that note, last year, I saw that the government of Canada announced a $4 billion digital adoption program called CDAP, or the Canada Digital Adoption Program, to really help small businesses to get online, to give their e-commerce presence a boost, or to help to digitize their business operations. Because, you know, the government, in similar position with governments globally, they can really see just how important cloud adoption is in the small business economy to recover and become more resilient in this post-pandemic world. And when I opened up, I talked about how important the small business economy was to the foundation of the world's economy. So I would really encourage, you know, any small business owner, or if you're an advisor for a small business, to really look at taking advantage of some of that funding and those grants for training and work opportunities as well for young Canadians through those schemes, to really look at how you can, you know, create new businesses, but also invest in your current small business through digitization. I think it's a fantastic scheme.
That's such a great call out. And actually, last year we ran a study with the Brookfield Institute for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. And in that study, it found that nearly 17% of Canadian small businesses still did not have a website, right? Which is a bit mind-boggling in this day and age. And again, it's not applicable for every business, but to have a web presence and to be able to advertise and meet your customer there feels so critical. So, you know, huge plus one in pursuing grants like this to further your small business.
And I think, sorry too, Faye, like even if, you know, you feel like you don't need an online presence, just to digitize your operations. You know, it's so important that you have the right information, high integrity data coming in to your accounting platform, that you're understanding, you know, where value resides in your business and how you can leverage that data to make better decisions. And so I think, again, what I've seen through another role I'm involved with our government here in New Zealand, which is the APEC region, if you like, the Business Advisory Council for the APEC region of which Canada is involved in, that there's a clear correlation between, you know, businesses going online, high productivity, and again, in this post-pandemic world, it's just so important for us to encourage our small businesses to just take a first step to learn more about digitization, because it can seem quite imposing, I think, too, if you're not that way inclined. So huge opportunity here, I think, for Canada especially.
Yeah, absolutely. Still early days. Well, one of the things you say a lot, which I love, is, you know, falling in love with our customers' problems. And you mentioned earlier seeking that biggest problem to solve. Could you double click on that for us a little bit? How do you do that? How does the team do that on a daily basis?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, what we do as part of our Xero product development framework is one of our product principles is fall in love with the customer problem. And to do that, you need to have like this obsession with your customers. You really need to understand the things that are holding them back from achieving their goals. And, you know, that's not necessarily waiting for a small business owner or an accountant or bookkeeper to come to us with the solutions, but it's really observing and getting really under their skin and making sure that, again, we're looking at macro trends, but also those micro trends about the things that are blocking or preventing small businesses to succeed. And so I mentioned earlier that we spend a lot of time online through research, also just spending time with our partners and getting their feedback to really co-create solutions together. But I just recall actually about a year before COVID hit, one of our senior product managers came to me, and her area was really about data and making better decisions and starting to think about forecasting, you know, different scenarios. And she came to me and said, Anna, cash flow is the number one reason why small businesses fail globally. Like, that is the biggest problem we should be leaning into. And her and the team had spent a lot of time with accountants and bookkeepers and their small business clients. And the thing that was really important to them at that moment was being able to predict where cash flow might be in the short term. And, am I going to be able to make payroll next week, for example? What's coming up from a tax perspective that I might need to account for? And so, that was something that the team really lent into. They developed a POC, or a proof of concept. They worked with our data team to start to look at AI, machine learning, to predict different scenarios. And now I'm super delighted to say that, what's emerged through that and through COVID is something called Analytics Plus, which essentially allows you to look at, different scenarios for your cash flow. And so if we think that cash flow is the number one reason why customers fail, I think, that whole journey that we've been on to really lean into that and say, no small business should fail because they don't have the right data to make the right decisions, has been something that's been really powerful for us.
I love that example. Thank you for sharing it. Just to recap the discussion so far, right? Cloud adoption is still low in Canada relative to what we've seen in other markets, but COVID has shown us a real increase in appetite for that business digitization. With the right experience, the right guidance, we can really start to transform that low cloud adoption and all the goodness that change is going to enable. So let's maybe switch gears a bit now and get into the details of the financial management system. I know Xero is tightly engaged in that small business bank relationship across the world, right? We've partnered with hundreds of financial institutions over the past 15 years. Here in Canada, I've definitely noticed an increasing appetite and willingness from financial institutions to discuss new and exciting use cases for small businesses as they develop their own innovation roadmap. The last year in particular has been super exciting for conversations in this space. Would love for you to talk a little bit about the key role that Xero plays in this ecosystem and what are the benefits to every party within that?
For sure. And this is a topic that's dear to my heart, Faye, because I've spent 18 years in finance and really focused on internet banking and innovation and how can we democratize success for small businesses, which led me into Xero. And so none of these things are mutually exclusive. And I think the thing that we really share with our financial partners is, again, the fact that we know if small businesses succeed, everyone wins. Communities succeed, families succeed. And I think for so long, especially for banks and financial institutions, it was really hard to really understand, where your small business community was at, because data was often submitted on a yearly basis and it was handed in paper-based forms. And so what Xero has done globally is really built the plumbing and the wiring, if you like, into that small business community, which is fantastic if you're a bank or a financial institution or a fintech, because suddenly you're really moving with the heartbeat of all of your small businesses, because you have the high integrity data that wasn't available for so long in real time to enable you to make great decisions for your small business customers. So if I take a step back and just think about, how we get data in and how that kind of cadence flows, Xero really was built to enable small businesses to grow. And so from the first invoice to the 100th employee, it starts with those basic tools of getting things up and running, from invoicing, financial performance dashboards, bank reconciliation, and then extends to, the 1,000 apps that I talked about earlier and connections with vendors and financial institutions that you need every day. And again, that really does start with high integrity data coming into the Xero platform. And that's why things like bank feeds and getting bank information into Xero or any accounting platform is just so important. It really starts there. Then as your business grows, you can access additional features by paying staff, managing expenses, running projects, profitability, and native handling also too of multiple currencies. So you can really extend beyond your borders to the world. And that's something that's very important for us as Xero. Again, we see small businesses, if you're in the cloud, you're a global small business. We want you to think from a growth mindset perspective that there are other markets that you could pursue. So in that respect, we're set up to support you with that. So if you think about it, we really allow our Xero business owners to build the toolkit that suits them, from accounting software to payroll to expenses project management, and of course all of the 1,000 or more apps that sit in our ecosystem. I think one of the other things that's really important is for small businesses, we know that if they have, their closest ally working with them, their accountant, their bookkeeper, that they've got a better chance of success as well. So that's whether, their partner is doing their taxes, getting their books in order, sitting down with them and setting out their business growth strategy. We really bring that data information to one place so we can collaborate beautifully around the single ledger in the cloud, if you like, in one place quickly and easily. So advisors can save time and do what they do best, which is really making sure that, again, compliance is sorted and they've got the data that they need to best advise their small business clients. Then maybe if I think about the relationships that we have globally with financial institutions, and again, it's a topic very close to my heart, we really have pioneered industry-leading connections with some of the world's largest financial institutions and fintechs to connect businesses with the information that they need to run their business. And so by really leaning in and investing in these relationships, we've facilitated new business models by connecting data and capital. And we've also made it easier for small businesses to move money in and out of their business. And that means getting paid faster, accessing working capital when they need it, having a real-time view of cash flow, which I talked about earlier. And so through, open APIs and strong financial connections, we see this massive opportunity to enable small businesses to leverage the rich cash flow data in their accounting ledger and apply for credit from fintechs and other banks just with a few clicks. And again, coming from a finance background, I know just how much supporting documentation you need to approve loans. And again, often small businesses can struggle to get those documents. They're time poor and have them up to date and verified by accountants. And so for financial institutions to make better decisions, we know that we can bring all this information, this rich information together and allow advisors and small businesses to spend less time updating and collating information that we need for these loan applications. And it also means that banks have real-time information available to them to help risk rate their book, for example, which was something that seemed a bit of a dream only a few years ago. So some examples. In Australia, we've partnered with Commonwealth Bank, and in the UK, we've partnered with NatWest to offer our mutual customers invoice finance facilities. So that's data flowing automatically between the Xero customer accounts and the lending decision engines to really speed that process up and to offer customers attractive terms because we have better data, which is great. And around the world, we're also supporting a number of banks and fintechs with their term loan and overdraft lending applications too, often through their technology partners. So just, I think, another really important area of efficiency are things like, automation of credit assessments and using accounting data for annual credit reviews. All these things that once upon a time just took so much effort. Now it's all in one place. It's available through the cloud, and it just means better things for banks and better things for the small business community.
I love all of those use cases and examples that you shared, and it's really exciting to me because it shows how that real-time high fidelity bank information is really just table stakes in the platform upon which we can build. But even the Commonwealth Bank example, right, making that process easier for the bank today, what does that future look like in terms of intelligent, just-in-time offers on lending decisions, not when the client has requested it, but even ahead of that based on the rich data that's available within platforms like Xero. So I just get really excited thinking about, what the next gen of that is.
For sure. And then when you think about cash flow and being able to, that sort of use case of, I don't think I'm going to make payroll next week, and I can see that, by working with our financial partners, potentially we can serve up. If we can identify that, we can serve something up for the small business or their advisor to say, hey, So it looks like you're not going to make payroll, but here's some capital, some working capital, and because we can see the data, we already know that this is approved for you, as opposed to having to jump through lots of hurdles. So that's a great North Star vision, I think, to have. You're totally right, Faye.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And that's, one of the key things that we hear when we talk to small businesses in Canada and their advisors is just the confusion around what I'm eligible for and what I can go after and the process by which I need to go do that to get additional capital, right? The idea that we can make that automated, intelligent, and serve it up proactively, to me, just means we're going to set small businesses up for success longer term, right? So really exciting.
Sure.
What other areas, you've mentioned a few examples already, but what other areas can banks lean in on to support small businesses as you think about the Xero platform and what you've seen in other markets around the world?
For sure. Well, I think as a global small business platform, we do get a really unique insight into the financial health of small businesses. And what we found to be universally true is that small businesses have 4 basic financial services needs. And, this is what our team at Xero is really committed to supporting. The first thing is visibility of their cash position, so they know what state their business is in. The second thing is making payments to their suppliers and employees in a really seamless way. The third thing is receiving payments from customers and getting paid on time. Super important because it helps with that cash flow. And the fourth thing is access to working capital to run and to grow their business. But one of the first things, one of the absolutely fundamental things that customers do when they start working on Xero is to connect their bank to our platform. And this really allows, bank statement data, all their bank statement lines to flow effortlessly into Xero. And, when we're all committed to that, the experience is really beautiful because it allows for daily reconciliation, which means a more up-to-date view of their cash position. And we know that that's so important because if you have high integrity data that financial institutions can trust coming into the Xero platform because it is their data, it means that they've got more opportunities to extend financial services products to their customers that are on Xero, and that they can save time and do that in a more efficient and effective way because they can trust that data flowing in because it's come from them, right? So it's very important, I think, for banks to really understand that. And in Canada, there's still a really large need for banks, Faye, to invest in technology, as you know, to allow them to enable bank transactions to flow automatically into Xero, to give our joint customers this up-to-date view of their cash position. So, bank feeds are powered by things like machine learning. They're updated daily. Accountants, bookkeepers, and businesses can regularly monitor their financial transactions through that visibility provided via the Xero Assurance dashboard that we have, and that makes daily reconciliation possible and allows businesses to see their true financial position daily. So when we're all working on the same data, accountants and bookkeepers can also forecast, plan, and help businesses remain financially stable and viable. And with fintechs like TransferWise and Soldo in the UK, you think about international transactions and the visibility of that, they're making it easier for small businesses to track foreign exchange payments, manage expenses, uncover insights about their business's performance directly from Xero. But I really do want to double click on this because we all have a part to play in recovery of the economy globally. Xero does, financial institutions do, governments do. And we've identified just how important and foundational the health and growth of small businesses and their resilience is to our recovery post-COVID, post this pandemic. And it starts with high integrity data coming into platforms like Xero that banks can trust because it's their data that help small businesses and the advisors make better decisions, but also allows financial institutions to make better decisions as well and really open up their small business offerings. So it starts with great bank feeds.
I couldn't agree with you more. And it's been really inspiring to see the places that we've gotten with financial institutions in Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. And I know we're not far behind here in Canada. So
For
very
sure.
exciting. You mentioned earlier accountants and bookkeepers, the role of the advisor for small businesses. What role do you see them playing in this digitization as we go forward?
Oh, it's absolutely critical. I think one of the great things about, I think, our community is seeing accountants and bookkeepers really lean in and flourish in terms of, the opportunities and the advice that they're giving for their small businesses in terms of how to right-size their business, how to make them more operationally efficient. And so we know that, for example, seeking the right business finance can be really time consuming and arduous. So when helping a small business owner with a loan application process, again, accountants and bookkeepers typically have to make sure that the financials are up to date, that they've got all the necessary documents, so that the client can get the best, financial contract or deal with their provider. So often that takes up to weeks, right, to hear back from the bank or financial institution because they've got to deal with all that information. It can be really stressful and nerve-wracking for small businesses, especially when cash is already really stretched. So, and then at the end of it, because some of that information may not be accurate or up to date, that loan application might be unsuccessful, as an example, because the lack of confidence in the data from the lender can impact on that. So with Xero's lending experience, accountants and bookkeepers can actually spend less time preparing all that information and instead sit down and guide them towards all these ready sources of financing that fit their needs, because we've got all the data here in one place that accountants and bookkeepers and small businesses can collaborate around. And they can really start to, for example, demonstrate cash flow forecasting. And that's so imperative to financial institutions who are thinking about funding some of these small businesses. So, accountants are absolutely crucial in this relationship in terms of access to capital and advising on how, a business become fitter through digitization. But again, we don't want any small business not to get access to the capital they need, and nor does any accountant or bookkeeper, because of lack of data. And again, that's why it's so important we're getting high integrity data in through bank feeds, which enables better lending and better financial decisions. And I know our accountants and bookkeepers would absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's switch and double click into something you said earlier around making and receiving payments and the cash flow insights that platforms like Xero can provide. Can you talk a little bit more about that and how that supports small businesses?
Of course. And I'll sound like a broken record, but we know cash flow is the number one reason, right, that small businesses fail globally. And we've been really deliberate at Xero in terms of ensuring small businesses have the tools to get paid faster and get on with running their businesses. But it's more than just getting paid faster. It's also streamlining admin processes, providing choices around making and receiving payments, automating the flow of payments data in and out of Xero, and reducing the risks of mistakes and fraudulent activity. And we do that in a number of ways. So if we think about making payments to begin with, we automate the payroll and bill payment data flows between Xero and a business's online banking platform. So the result for small businesses is safer and easier payments. And it also means businesses don't have to enter accounts payable details into their accounting system and their online banking. They save time by sending payment instructions directly from Xero and then authorizing those payments with their bank. Some other ways to, we automatically suggest the right account for a business's next invoice to ensure that those items are categorized the right way. And we make it even faster and easier than ever to help our small businesses to pay bills. So we're now doing this in the UK through partnerships with the likes of TransferWise, where Pay with TransferWise provides a new domestic bill payment solution that helps our UK customers pay and manage their bills more efficiently. So a whole host of innovation going on in that space. And then on the other side of the coin, receiving payments, so important, right? And we're working with, some of the world's most popular payment gateways, from Stripe to Go Cardless. And we've seen firsthand the difference this makes when we're integrating into these payment gateways, because Xero customers actually get paid up to twice as fast with online invoice payments. So if they've integrated online payment services into their invoices, we know they get paid up to twice as fast. It's huge from a cash flow perspective. So just some examples: our online payment solution with Stripe lets our customers pay with debit card, credit card, or Apple Pay. And with a Stripe feed into Xero for, super easy reconciliation, and auto pay for automatic payments. Stripe makes it super easy for businesses to accept payments in Xero, which is fantastic. And then Go Cardless, direct debits payments provider collects one-off or recurring payments on the day they're due, so businesses never have to chase a payment again, which is fantastic. And again, with automatic reconciliation, it improves your business cash flow, reduces admin. Again, it's a bit of a theme. So I think too, just to again double click on bank feeds, we know that our customers understand when payments reach their accounts and that reconciliation is seamless. So high integrity data coming into Xero through those bank feeds, enabling the integration of being able to pay and get paid and seeing all those data flows, that all ladders up to great cash flow insights. And again, we released Analytics Plus in our business snapshot tools, and we actually made them free to our customers last year when Covid-19 first hit for a period of time. So that's super exciting. We're investing heavily in Xero Analytics just to ensure through AI and machine learning we can get greater customization, more accurate predictions, which is, I think, great news for our financial services partners globally.
That's great. And I think we've just got a few minutes left, so maybe one or two more questions, Anna, before we wrap things up. We've heard a lot about open banking throughout this summit, and you've now lived through the adoption of open banking in a few markets, so you understand the reality of the journey for governments and for small businesses. How important is this for small businesses, and can you give us a sense of what we can expect as we go through it in the coming months and years here in Canada?
For sure. Look, in Xero's other markets, for example, in Australia, 95% of Xero's connected bank feeds are from high quality direct feeds. And in New Zealand, it's actually 98%. And that's actually been achieved without open banking legislation. And in the UK, 100% of our feeds are direct. And the benefits of, of open banking and the Xero experience means that we can really work closely with some of the world's largest financial institutions. And we've really pioneered these industry leading connections, if you like, to connect businesses with their financial information they need to run their business. And we've invested really heavily in these relationships because it is so critical for our small business community. We've invested in new business models by connecting data and capital, as we've just talked about, to make it even easier to grow, get a real-time view of your cash flow, get the working capital when you need it. And our experience really does lead us to believe that open banking can play an important role in guiding the use of data across the industry. And it's critical to provide improved outcomes for consumers, for small businesses, for financial technology platforms, and for financial institutions. So I think that open banking will move us from a world where banks control the data they hold about a business to a world where the small business owns their data and controls how it's used. And, Xero is really supportive of the shift, as we do believe businesses should be in the driver's seat and be able to use their data to their advantage. But I think, the high level outcome is everyone wins when that happens, because a small business controls that data for the benefit of their business. And we know if small businesses are winning, then so are financial institutions, and so is Xero, and so is our digital community supporting them.
Yeah, love that. One of the things you and I've chatted about in the past is how important that collaboration between uh, government and small businesses. We think about the journey to open banking. I know one of Xero's most powerful programs is the Xero Small Business Insights program. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
For sure, for sure. And it's something that actually governments globally really have lent into and are super interested, along with economists and analysts and accountants and bookkeepers, because we really are representatives and champions of small business. And it's really integral that we aim to contextualize and vocalize what they need, because if you think about it, 15 years ago, there really wasn't a platform for small businesses, even though, and by a platform, I mean a vocal platform to really enable for their needs to be heard globally, even though they're just so important foundation to the world's economy, right? So Xero's unique position means we can provide anonymized and aggregated data to generate insights about small business economies in which we operate. And a major focus for us, as you've said, is our Xero Small Business Insights program. We run that in Australia and New Zealand and in the UK. And the outcomes of that program include things like themed reports, the Xero Small Business Index, and that provides a monthly, easy to understand sort of read on the overall state of small business. And that's just one of the ways that we can develop relationships in our engagement with governments and regulators to really advocate for small businesses through the publication of this research. So one example of a government referencing our work was in Australia, actually, where the Minister for Employment and Workforce Skills and Small and Family Businesses referenced Xero late payments research during Senate proceedings as the federal government's payment times report register bill was debated. And again, it was featured during the announcement of the launch. So, Faye, we really do aim to be the advocate and the voice of small business, because it is just so important. It was always important, but more important than ever is we really want to springboard out of this post-pandemic world and into a new world of growth, and our small businesses thriving and becoming more resilient into the future.
Well, that just seems like the perfect note to end on. So thanks for joining us again today, Anna. It's been incredibly valuable to get your insights about the success we've seen in other markets and what the opportunities are before us to continue working with financial institutions and the small business ecosystem here in Canada. I just noted a few key takeaways from our discussion for this Canadian audience. First, we have an opportunity to accelerate small business digital transformation in the country. The benefits have been felt around the world, and now is the time for collaboration to provide that truly beautiful experience for Canadian small businesses. So that was my first takeaway. The second is that everything starts with real-time, high-fidelity bank data into platforms like Xero. And what we've seen from other markets is that bank account data is the platform in which all other of those exciting use cases are built off of. So that was another key takeaway from the conversation. And then last but certainly not least, it is going to take collaboration right across the ecosystem. And I think that's been a theme throughout this summit, is that spirit of cooperation from banks to fintechs to accounting platforms. How can we all work together to ensure that we're creating an integrated, free-flowing, and what we call here at Xero, #beautiful experience for our mutual customers. So thank you again for making the time to be with us, Anna, and welcome to Canada. It's so nice to have you here. As always, it was a pleasure to hear and learn from you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your time in our country.
I certainly will. Thank you so much, Faye, and all the best for the rest of the conference. Thank you.
Thanks.